Should I do the dramatic voice?
Yes.
Okay. Hello and welcome to Tales from Beyond the Sofa. My name is Tom, and with me, as always, is my wife and co-host Dee.
Hello.
So I think first of all we should probably explain why there's been a delay in this episode.
I think that would be a good idea.
Should we be candid?
Yes, of
All
course.
right,
be
well,
honest with the...
Okay, well, 2 days after recording the last episode, I lost my job. I was let go from my job. So obviously that became a priority, sorting out interviews and things like that. I've had a few this week.
Yeah, you have.
I have a
I'm
couple
very
more
proud
lined
of you.
up. There's, things aren't sorted, but it doesn't feel as scary as it did out on
the first day,
week,
yeah.
And it took us a little while to recover. And we did intend on recording this last weekend.
We did.
You and I, we just decided to just spend that weekend just
Reconnecting,
just making sure that we are...
That we're okay.
Yeah.
No
matter what happens,
we're still together, we're good.
Yeah. So yeah.
To be honest, we can get through anything as long as we're together.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I don't want to apologise to the audience for doing that, but I do want to apologise for delaying the episode being delayed as a result.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So we Tom found this
Yeah,
cute
we were supposed to be doing the Brothers Bloom this weekend.
Yes, we were.
But obviously everything happened, and then we
just needed some sort of escapism. We needed to get out of our heads, and
we discovered this show called Daybreak.
Yeah.
That was
surprising
that
little
was a
show.
bit of a surprising nugget, right?
Yeah, it really was. Yeah. It's interesting. It's dynamic. It makes you think.
I was a bit dubious because it's weird. I'm always dubious with Netflix stuff these days. Something about it just kind of told me to take the leap, because I feel like Netflix very often, their trailers tend to promise or emphasize one element of the show, and then when it comes to it, you realize that's actually not such a big part of the show or whatever, like it's actually a lot slower, or that sort of element only shows up every so often.
Yeah.
But this one, it really delivered.
It really did. I was kind of dubious, especially when you told me it was about a group of kids.
Yeah.
All I had in my head is all those like teenagers.
That kind of young adult thing.
Yeah, young adult, angsty kids just fighting with each other, literally.
Yeah. I was a bit dubious. I thought it was going to be some sort of kind of dramatic, hundreds of I don't know, like that kind of pseudo drama, that sort of teen angst drama kind of thing. And there is a lot of that teen angst stuff, but the teen angst stuff has its place.
It does, and it works really well. The way they weave it into the story, I mean, make it kind of matter of fact.
Yeah, and it's almost very often they're going through their teen angst stuff, but it's like they all know, the stakes are bigger than their teen angst bullshit.
Yes.
So that teen angst stuff, it informs their decision making.
They're still kids.
If they've had like a big drama, they will react accordingly to a situation.
Yes,
they will lash out in a situation rather than think it through. Whereas if everything's going smooth, they tend to be a little bit sort of more savvy and smart about how they deal with situations.
Yeah.
So, okay, quick rundown, elevator pitch, if you will, of what Daybreak is.
Daybreak is a post-apocalyptic story about a kid trying to find his girlfriend in the apocalypse.
Yeah, I keep telling people it's Ferris Bueller meets Lord of the Flies in a Mad Max, or in a post-apocalyptic, because there is a kind of Mad Max element.
There is a Mad Max,
especially with the jocks.
Yes, indeed.
The jocks are the kind of...
They kind of fall... I compare it to what I used to watch back in the day, something called The Tribe.
That was that Aussie show.
Yeah, that Aussie show. It's very... That's the kind of vibe I get off get from it. The only thing is, it's not as serious as The Tribe. It's a little bit more light-hearted in the way they deal with everything, and I loved it.
Yeah.
The humour in Daybreak is spot on.
Yeah. But the stakes are still real.
Oh, yes.
Nothing's undercut.
No, nothing.
Everything matters, but it is what it is, and it knows what it is, and so it doesn't try to be this kind of mature
kind of Dawson's Creek
drama.
Yeah, it isn't. Even
when the characters are going through drama, rabbit ears drama, it's still, even in the reality of the story, it still seems so insignificant. But nobody ever points it out.
No.
But it is shot and shown and written to just be such a silly thing to be worrying about.
Yeah.
But we'll get more into the characters and the storylines and everything when we go to spoilers.
Yes, indeed.
But the core characters, there's...
well, it's like a trinity, isn't it, really?
Well, it's more like a quartet. Because you've got Josh, the main character, he's like this just average C student.
He's our entrance into this world. He's the one we kind of view everything through.
And he's also the kind of the everyman, because he doesn't excel at anything. And when he was a student, he was a C student. He just moved from Canada. Nobody really knew who he was. It was like, what's it? Every time somebody refers to Josh, they're like, what, gay Josh?
Yeah, they kind of,
Other gay Josh? No, just Josh. Was it Josh with a... I can't remember. It was Josh with a something.
Yeah.
No, just Josh.
Just Josh. So and that's how they kind of name him throughout the first few episodes.
Yeah. But, okay, so you got Josh, who was just like this kind of average guy, he just... he was just
average, and he's just literally...
He was a blah character pre-apocalypse, but post-apocalypse, he's excelling. Mm-hmm. Then you've got Angelica.
Well, he says,
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, he says... Even in the trailer, he says the apocalypse is the best thing ever to happen to me.
Yeah, exactly. Then you've got Angelica.
I love Angelica. She's a Mensa grade...
Genius. 10-year-old.
She's 10 years old. She's homeschooled, so she doesn't really know how to deal with
She's kind of sociopathic as well.
And completely strong. Mm-hmm. Kind of,
Well, resilient.
Resilient is the word I'm looking for.
You've got Wesley Fists.
Yes.
Who I wasn't sure about at first. But,
no, because of his entrance.
It
kind of jars you a bit because you don't expect that from him. But when you get used to it,
it was the cultural appropriation entrance. But because he's a black guy, but he's dressed as a samurai, and he's like. His introduction, he says he's changed his ways because he was one of the bullies, and now he's living the life of a samurai, trying to find redemption.
Exactly.
And at first I was like, I'm not sure, but within about spending 10 minutes with that character, I'm on board. I like this character.
You kind of fall in love with him, don't you? Yeah. You have Ms. Crumble, sorry.
Yeah.
I keep saying Mrs. because of teachers.
I feel like we can't really talk about Ms. Crumble without going into spoiler territory because her character is so intrinsically tied to the plot. So, she's a fantastic character.
Yeah.
I think the actress who played her, I can't remember her name. Let me look her up quickly. Because she deserves props.
She does deserve props, definitely.
She deserves a name drop. Krista Rodriguez. Do you know what it is? I didn't recognise her picture.
Interesting. She looked very different on IMDb, doesn't she?
Yeah. Krista Rodriguez, she hasn't really done much, but she is just fantastic. She steals every scene she's in.
Definitely. She's amazing.
Even like pre-apocalypse Miss Crumble, she kind of steals the scene every time. But I really want to talk about her, but she's such a so she's like just a spoiler character.
Definitely.
But the overall story, I mean, was there any part of the story that just that this felt lacking, or what? Because for me it was just a good solid story.
There's a whole overall I agree with you there. I think it's a really good solid story from start to finish, and the entrances and the way they explain the characters and how they gel and work in this world is incredible.
I think for me as well, one of my favorite things about the story is while we were watching the show, because of what's going on, how it happened, because everyone over the age of 18 is now a ghoulie. Mm-hmm.
They're either dead or ghoulies, yeah.
And ghoulies are kind of like zombies, except that if one bites you, you don't turn into a ghoulie, you know. But they act just like zombies.
Zombies, yeah.
Except that they also say, they keep just repeating the last
thought they had. Yeah.
And there's a certain celebrity that's name dropped. They ran into this celebrity, and his last thought or whatever was, I'm friends with Brad Pitt.
What's great about it is that it's episodic, but it's not episodic, if that makes sense. There's like a story in each episode, but this arc just
they're chapters.
They're chapters.
But my point was there are so many questions that start developing in the viewer's mind while they're watching it, and then the end, they kind of tie a lot of them up.
They do.
In a very believable way. It's not like, well, that's
yeah, that wouldn't happen, or
that's a bit convenient, whatever.
Exactly.
It's but it also does raise other questions as well.
It raises a lot of questions about your life. If you're a teenager, you will relate to this show. If you're an adult, you will relate to this show.
Yeah.
Even as a parent, and I said this to you the other day, where it makes me look at myself as a parent and how I don't want my kids to turn out.
Yeah, also it made me look at myself as a parent and my effect on my kids, because there is a lot of that is explored, because these children now, because
there are no adults around, no adults, no one to control them. They're teenagers, they don't really know what they're doing, and they're actually looking for a leader. Someone to kind of guide them and show them the way.
But they revert to like base instincts, you know, and
I mean, there is a fight or flight thing in the way it works.
I mean, even down to the fact that they all remain in their cliques.
Yes.
Yeah, and some of those cliques are, because that's the other thing. It's basically high school on a city-wide scale.
Yeah.
And it's post-apocalyptic. You know, we wrote some of these, some of the cliques down, the factions.
So obviously you've got the jocks.
Yeah, and the jocks are everybody
fears them.
Yeah, they're in charge.
Yeah.
You know, everyone has their own section, but their own territory, but they all bow to the jocks.
Jocks, yeah.
So you have the STEM punks.
Yes.
Who all dress like Steve Jobs. Black polo neck and denim. So the STEM punks are, and you've got the 4-H club, who are like the agriculture. We had to look them up. We're like,
what the hell is a 4-H?
In the context of the story, it all works. But then when we were talking about this, we're like, what is even 4-H?
We had to look it up. It's something. It's
Head, Heart, Hands, Health.
There we go. And it's this youth
organization.
Yeah, ideology.
I keep leaving my hand up. Like hello.
Hello. Youth ideology, and they do kind of courses and things like that, just to help kids.
You've got the Disciples of Kardashian,
which kind of speaks for itself. Basically, that every single one of them looks like a Kardashian in one way or another, male or female. It's
Instagram.
Yeah, models. Instagram models.
You got the Chimazons,
who are awesome.
Yes.
Who are awesome.
The cheerleaders became Amazons. And obviously the jocks. And then there are others you meet along the way, but they are sort of more...
They're kind of small factions, and they kind of live on their own, kind of in their own little bubble. So what was good about the show?
I think the writing was really solid, and the acting's really solid as well. There wasn't really... I didn't really have any... There are story gripes I have with it. Like there's the Wesley's arc. I think his character deserved better.
I can see that. I can understand that.
And the other characters in the series tell him he deserves better. So
yeah.
I can't really think of anything that was like weak enough to actually stand out to me like a week or so later. That's how good the show was for me. And
it's a shame.
I mean, there's a lot. I think a lot of people will be put off with all the kind of social justice language that's used, and but I think
we'll come into that in the spoiler talk, but there is. Yeah.
I will say here that it isn't a show that's pushing social justice propaganda.
No, it's not.
It's showing how it works in practice and how other people brandish it as a weapon. Mm-hmm. I think the only thing that did kind of
jar you a little.
Yeah, was that when there were certain kind of like self-righteous monologues.
Yeah, there is.
Where somebody would use a lot of that social justice language, and I don't know, it kind of in a way felt like it was lampooning it.
I think at one point when we were watching it, you said they're shoving it down. Like, it felt a bit too much at certain points.
Yeah, and I'm a total social justice.
Yes, you are.
I'm a total SJW.
Yeah.
So there were times when it kind of felt like it felt like they were saying like, hey, this is the good stuff about social justice, and then there were times when it felt like they were making fun of social justice warriors. And I think looking at the reviews, a lot of people.
Is that why they didn't like it as much?
No, I think a lot of people just saw a lot of it as just pure SJW propaganda.
Look, everybody should be able to live how they want to live, with whomever. It's their life.
Yeah, as long as it's all consensual.
Yeah, and
it's all good.
Yeah, exactly, and that's how it should be. I mean,
well, the way they deal with sexuality.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, the way they deal with sexuality in this show is very matter of fact. It's not coy, and it's not played for laughs or titillation or anything like that. It's just a relationship between two people of the same gender.
And how that relationship affects them.
Yeah. They treat it very much like how you would treat any relationship. Even when you look at, there is a heterosexual couple in it, and it's treated in exactly the same way.
Yeah, completely.
And that's
great. That's
in practice.
Yeah, that is, and that's so great about this show.
But when characters were, getting all preachy and using all the, the terms, all the terminology, and it just felt very. It felt like I was reading a Twitter thread.
Oh, okay. But this show is very much like that. It kind of connects to that social media, the whole social media thing without having social media. It's,
So I think we can safely say that we would recommend it to everyone.
Would. Yeah, completely. Look, I can understand if you don't like it, but I just thought it was a little gem, and I'm quite disappointed it only has 6.8 on IMDb. The acting's great, the story's great. The themes are amazing, and how they deal with them.
If you're the kind of person who is immediately offended by the word woke, then it's not for you. But if you just want a fun time, a fun, interesting, at times scary, at times weird, at times fascinating show, then I highly recommend it.
Yeah. It's very underrated and not spoken about.
Exactly. Especially, I think parents should watch this.
Oh, totally. I agree. I think all parents should watch this.
Because even as a parent, I'm watching this and I'm still dealing with that shit.
Yes. That's the thing. That's why I said it made me look at myself as a parent and what baggage I do not want to give my kids.
So, let's talk spoilers.
Definitely.
We've been itching to...
I know.
We've both been itching to talk spoilers.
Now... This is going to be weird. There's so much to talk about, so we're going to go left, right, up, down, round and round in circles, and whichever way we want to go, I guess. It's our podcast, we can do what we want.
Yeah, exactly. So where do you want to begin?
I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah.
It's so hard to describe.
I know where I want to begin.
Go on then, you start.
Okay, so we're going forward, assuming everyone who's listening to this section has now watched the show, so we can do everything out of context. Wesley and Turbo's relationship.
Oh,
First of all, how they handled the Wesley thing. It's like Eli. Yeah,
Eli is just a great...
We'll talk about Eli.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, Eli's like, I know your secret. He's like, man, everybody knows I'm gay. Yeah, and just the way they deal with it like that, it's like, he's not struggling with it.
No, he accepts it. It is who he is. He's out, he's proud, and he doesn't really care.
Yeah, and that's one of the things Sam likes about him is that he just is who he is. He's the only person kind of living his truth, as far as everyone can tell. But you know, even for him, he doesn't feel like he's his authentic self.
No,
because he came from Compton and then moved to Glendale.
Glendale.
This kind of upper middle class suburb. But yeah, there was a bit where Angelica, where the Chimazons wanted to kill him.
Oh yes.
And Angelica goes, he's woke, he's black, and he's gay.
He's all of the what's that? What's the word?
He ticks all the marginalised boxes. Well, he doesn't have a disability.
No.
Yeah. But he's pretty badass. You know, he was a bully and then he becomes like the samurai.
He wants to become a samurai. He follows the samurai code, and basically he's going on a redemption arc. He wants to kind of make up for all the bullying, all the bad things he did and said, even with Eli. And there's that scene where Eli confronts him and he slaps him and just slaps him
and
slaps
keeps slapping him.
Yeah,
and Wesley just takes it.
Yeah, he takes it and just says sorry. He accepts the fact that he was a bully and he atones for it, and he understands.
Well, he is atoning.
Yeah.
For it. Because not only was he a bully, he was.
He was part of.
He was part of the Jocks. He was like Turbo's
right hand man. I mean, those two were in love.
Yeah.
I mean, right to the end, they loved each other, and they really, really loved each other. But that relationship was
toxic.
You know, you've got Turbo, who is kind of manipulative in his way.
He's jealous and possessive.
Yeah.
Eventually, Wesley leaves because every boy who tries to befriend him, Turbo ends up killing. In this, they have what's it called? American Ninja Star or something like that. It's like American Idol and American Ninja. They have to sing a song.
And if Turbo likes it...
but if he doesn't, the trapdoor opens and they drop into a pit of ghoulies. And that's what he would do to every boy that tries to be... Like that guy who... There was one kid who literally just complimented Wesley's shoes.
Yes.
And Turbo throws him to the ghoulies. So, and that's...
I mean, Turbo is such a...
I think, for me, personally...
angry character.
This is it. For me, I think he ended up being a way more complex character than the character that's introduced.
Yeah, I mean
that can be said for pretty much every character. But Turbo in particular, I was expecting just this very...
And when you see them in the flashback with Wesley and how gentle he is and how honest he is and how sweet he is with Wesley, Wesley and Turbo, like I said, completely and utterly love each other through their souls, but Wesley had to leave.
Yeah.
You know, and Turbo just didn't... He couldn't move on. He couldn't grow.
But the thing is, you have to understand, for Turbo, he was the... You know, he was in the closet. And not only is Wesley his first love, but... it's safe, you know. I don't know. They don't really say it explicitly, but Mona Lisa knows that Turbo's gay.
Yes.
Right, but I don't know if the
rest of the tribe know.
As a whole know that Turbo is gay. So I think that possessiveness comes from a sort of a fear of...
being found out and...
Not so much being found out, but it's that if he loses Wesley for good, the only way he'll ever have companionship again is by coming out or accidentally figuring out that someone else is gay or whatever. So that's I think is... I mean, I'm not defending Turbo's...
No, I mean...
what I'm saying is that's probably where it's coming from. But he's a jock and he's a bully, so he only knows how to deal with things.
Yeah, he commands.
Yeah, with violence.
Yeah, he commands with violence.
Which is odd, considering his father's this humanitarian, and he just wants his father's attention.
But that's the thing.
And he looks up to his father so much.
He loves his dad, and he just wants his dad to go to his final game to watch him play. And the way his dad kind of manipulates him.
Yeah.
Well, what is it? I either save a whole bunch of kids, or
he basically gives him the math. He's like, in this, he's got these visas to get these refugees across a particular border, and but he's like, every hour, X hundred or whatever kids die. But you want me to come to your homecoming game? That's 3 hours. That's this many kids.
Yeah,
Do you think that's worth one game? I mean, I don't know. It's your decision. That's the thing.
He puts it on him.
It's your decision.
Crazy.
It's up to you.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
How, as a parent, can you ask that question and do that? It's not a comparison.
Yeah.
And
what's incredible about that thing as well is that he is constantly listening to his humanitarian father talking about saving the children. Someone must save the children. He's like, there's his child, and just wants. It's like he loves every random, not random, anonymous, every anonymous child, third world child, refugee, more than his son.
Yeah.
And it's almost like he becomes the opposite of his father as a result.
Yeah. I mean, that particular parent thing runs through it's a theme throughout the whole...
Of course, because they're teenagers. They're teenagers,
that whole kind of wants mum's attention. You've got Josh, whose father dies. Mm-hmm. You've got Angelica, whose mother is in a submarine and she's trying to get in contact with her. Mm-hmm. You've got Eli, whose mother is quite controlling.
No, his mother wasn't controlling. His mother was frugal. If you remember, they were poor.
Poor, yeah.
Everything he wore was a knockoff. Mm. That was his whole thing with Wesley. He spent a year, plucking old lady legs and things like, working in the salon, doing like all the worst salon jobs for a year to save up for some Yeezys, whatever those are.
I think they're trainers.
I think they're the Kanye West trainers.
Yeah, something like that. And yeah.
Yeah, and then like as soon as he put them on, Wesley and his mates jumped him for them, and because they didn't fit anyone, they threw them over a telephone wire. And that's why he has such a beef with Wesley when we first meet him. But
it
which
also
is funny,
explains why he lives in the mall.
And it's
his domain. Mm-hmm. Everything belongs to him,
He reminded me of the Orange Lantern in the Green Lantern. The Green Lantern Corps, every colour of the spectrum has a core. And orange is, I think, avarice, they call it, which is like greed. And there's only one Orange Lantern, and his whole thing is he just gathers things, he just reminded me of that character because he was just complete avarice,
Oh wow.
That's
that's
why he becomes possessive of the mall. This is his shit now. All the stuff he couldn't afford, all the stuff that he could never buy or own pre-apocalypse, it's now all of his.
Yep, indeed. And the way he defends that place, all the traps, all the bombs, all the... Yeah.
And doing a daily perimeter thing sweep. Dressed as the Baron Triumph. Mm. I called it straight away,
yes,
didn't I?
Indeed.
I called it.
But that was easy to spot in a way as well.
Well, we didn't know if by that point they hadn't even mentioned post-apocalypse.
No, because as the audience, we think all the adults have either become jelly or ghouls.
Yeah. I mean, the characters assumed it was Hoyles.
Yes, Hoyles, yes.
Because it was Hoyles' bike. Mm. But when he got Hoyles arrested, he took his bike, didn't he?
Yeah.
Did that happen on... If Hoyles was arrested for statutory rape, why was he back at
Why was he out?
And not only... The thing is as well, they mentioned that he was held back a couple of years. Mm. And they're all 17, so he should be at least 19.
But the theory is
the HPV vaccine.
That's it.
So, yeah, he must have...
He must have had it earlier.
The thing is, this is something this was a question that kind of occurred to me afterwards, because Do you remember we were like, what happens when they turn 18? But it turns out it's just they were all vaccinated against this bioweapon. But the thing is, they're not the first generation of kids to be vaccinated.
No.
There should be people in their early to mid-20s, and some even in their late 20s, early 30s, who have had the HPV vaccine.
I agree. I mean, there are a lot of questions.
Yeah.
I mean, has it happened around the world? I mean, there's that episode with the gamers.
Yeah.
And it apparently happened everywhere else, but we don't see any other kind of person from another city or another town even enter.
Well, this is very much a Glendale
Yeah, it's just...
story. This is how Glendale deals with the apocalypse. And if you remember as well, the gamers are really the only ones that are aware that some stuff is still running. Social media is no longer a thing, but they still use social media.
It's so good.
When they call a group chat.
Yes.
And, when he sends them Polaroids and it's his Insta story. But, there might be people out there that have figured out which parts of the internet are still running. And
Yeah.
how
I mean,
to
they're
use it.
gaming with kids
All
across
around
the
the
world.
world.
So, we know there is some form of technology out there.
But I guess maybe they just didn't want to go too big too soon. Because it's been greenlit for a season 2. And the graphic novel, the writer is working on a book 2.
Oh, nice.
But apparently the series, obviously we haven't read the book because we only found out that it was a graphic novel.
I think after we watched it.
We confirmed it was a graphic novel after we watched it. But while we were watching it, it was like, this feels very graphic novel. But yeah, he apparently, toward the end somewhere, it deviates quite a lot from the book.
Oh, okay. I'd like to read the book, though.
And he's trying to write book 2 without letting the Netflix series influence him in any way.
Imagine that could be really hard. It's one of those...
Well, no, just go back to his notes.
I suppose you have to...
think about how we work when we write. We don't just write book 1.
No, we don't.
We figure out what is book 1 setting up and where's that going to head to. Is that book 2, book 3, blah, blah, blah. So he's probably done the same thing.
We actually, when we write, we do at least 3.
Yeah, we think about a 3-part arc. We know that we will never, probably, chances of getting to the 3rd part is very slim. But we still work out a 3-part arc because it just helps us figure out the scale.
The scale and how big we want to go or how small we want to... Yeah, completely, I agree.
So he's probably done the same thing.
But, here's a question. So is there only one school in Glendale?
I had that same thought
There
as well.
can't be. There has to be other schools there. And even if there aren't other schools there, there'll be other kids that go to other schools.
Yeah, exactly. Some kids who go to school outside of Glendale.
Yeah.
But also, why is no one coming into Glendale? If there are kids all around, especially this is set in Glendale, California. So, the same thing's going on in every other district of California. It would be interesting to see in season 2 that kind of world building grow. I mean, I don't necessarily want it to go international.
No.
But I'd like to see what maybe the rest of California
looks like. Yeah, at least maybe a few of the other suburbs around there.
I'd love to see
Hollywood.
what happened to Beverly Hills.
Yeah. I mean, we see the Hollywood sign. Can't remember what it said.
LOL.
Yeah. It says LOL as you come past it. So I'd like to see what Hollywood looks like now.
I'd like to see what Beverly Hills looks like. I keep thinking of Clueless.
Nice.
But imagine that sort of class of school.
Yeah.
But in modern times, I imagine it would be a lot like the Disciples of Kardashian, or I think it would be pretty much like every other school, but now they're all rich.
Yes.
And pampered, and probably have had to kind of figure out survival skills very quickly, and
that'd be actually a really interesting take on it, to see the other side of it, because these kids are just normal kids. I say normal, but I mean, from average middle class backgrounds, they go to an average middle class school.
It's very middle of the road class wise. You got the rich kids, and you got the poor kids, and then you got the kids that are just fine, I guess. They're indistinct from the rest of the class demographic in their school.
The way they kind of introduce characters and the way they explain them in the apocalypse is brilliant. Because you see them at school and doing their own thing, and then you see them in the apocalypse with their relevant factions. I
Or
think
how
it
much
works.
they've changed.
Yeah, exactly, how much they've changed as well.
Like the cheerleaders. They were this kind of elitist, closed-off clique.
And
But
now
then-
they come badass Amazons.
who are just kind of taking in every girl they find.
Yeah.
But
And
they have tough initiation and things like that. But it's just how it's like this.
I mean, it is them against the men as well. They've got a very straight up philosophy, like they hate men.
Well, they've just adopted the kind of raw Amazon philosophy. You know, the only difference is they haven't cut off one of their breasts.
No. Did they really do that?
Amazons did that. It helped
Wow.
them with archery.
I can
It
see that.
stopped
Okay,
the
the
breast
rub.
from getting in the way, which is actually something they did in Why the Last Man. There is a faction of Amazons, and they each cut off one of their breasts, even though archery isn't really used, but it's more of a kind of
Statement.
badge, whatever.
I mean, that the Chirmazon's group is amazingly diverse.
Yes.
You've got a deaf girl.
Yes, with her translator.
Yeah,
the
a Muslim girl and a black leader.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. I mean, the strength they have is amazing. But I think the only thing I would have loved to have seen them a little bit more in action.
Yeah.
I think
they posture and threaten quite a lot.
Yeah.
Throughout the series, but when shit goes down, but then again, think about what happened to them before shit goes down. That huge bomb right up near their compound went off. Yeah, it killed
nearly all of them.
It killed the translator.
Oh, that scene with Josh is cute.
Yeah, it kills the translator, and it doesn't. Does it kill Demi?
I don't know. I think it did because I didn't see her at the end. You know, when they're all together at the end, I didn't see her there.
And the rest of them got like seriously hurt.
Yeah.
So.
But I think I would have just liked to have seen them.
It would have been nice
more.
if not all of them or most of them were taken out.
Yeah.
Because I really don't want to keep referring to her as the deaf girl. So just a quick.
Just a quick look-see.
Looky-loo. I can't even remember what she looked like.
Well, this isn't cool.
No. Which episodes were they in?
She was definitely in the last episode.
Oh my god, but everyone's in this episode.
Yeah.
I think it's Miriam. It's either Miriam or Victoria. I can't
Be.
remember which one lived and which one died between the... Yeah, but... Miriam. Let's just go with Miriam because it's a nice name. Yeah, so... And I lost our point.
Oh, the way Josh...
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see, like, instead of, like, most of them being wiped out or whatever, that enough of them to make a kind of presence in the final battle were there.
Mm-hmm.
So I get what you're saying about you wanted to see more.
I see. Yeah, I definitely wanted to see more of them.
Yeah, but maybe because Miriam has to rebuild the Chirmazons
on her own, I guess.
Yeah,
but she's like Josh said, I will be your translator. It's just
But I mean, we don't know what's because now as well. Sam Dean is the Queen Bee.
That fucking ending. Oh my god. But before we get there, let's get to the ending at the end. Let's talk about Angelica and Missy...
Miss Crumble.
Crumble.
What a fantastic character. Both pre and post-apocalypse.
Indeed. I mean, pre-apocalypse just reminded me of me before I met you.
Oh. What? In what way?
In that kind of... I'm in my 30s, I'm broken, I don't know where I'm going, I don't know what I'm doing. My life just felt empty.
Oh.
I had a life.
Yeah.
But it just felt empty. It didn't feel complete or like I had a path anywhere.
Okay, like you were just existing.
I was literally just existing. And then I met you.
Oh.
And I think that's the kind of relationship she has with Angelica.
Yeah.
Like, you know, she
Angelica gives her purpose.
Yeah, and in life you kind of need purpose.
Yeah.
And in your 30s, especially culturally, not married, have no kids, you know, living with my folks, blah 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 blah, and I'm a woman,
Yeah.
and it just hit me in the feels.
Oh, yeah. I saw that when
It's like, you know.
But as well, Miss Crumble is the first introduction we get to just how weird things have gotten.
Yeah.
Because you remember when she's looking for the keys?
Yes. Oh my God.
And suddenly she just unhinges her jaw.
Oh.
Like, looks up, unhinges her jaw, and you can see right down. And she just sticks her arm in, but it's like, oh no,
It's kind of lodges right down.
Yeah.
I think I need some help.
And she somehow convinces Josh to reach down into her guts and find... And he's like, was it...
Don't eat me, don't eat me, don't eat me.
Do you promise you won't eat my arm? No, was it? Are you going to eat my arm?
You're going to eat my arm or something.
Or something like that. And she's like, I'm not sure.
She was honest though,
Yeah.
because she, you know, exactly that. She's not, but she was smart. Because when Josh tried to cut his arm off, because he got bitten, like he got a scratch.
Oh yeah. Because he got bitten by a ghoulie.
Yeah.
And he was convinced that he was going to turn into a ghoulie. This is when they explain that they're not actually zombies.
Yeah, so if they get bitten, they can't change. They don't change. Yeah.
She's got bite marks all over her arm, but he's hacking away at his arm with this kind of blunt, this dull sword. It's a badass looking sword, but it's dull.
Dull, yeah.
And somehow manages to get him, just catch one finger. And then Angelica walks in, and now he has to live his life with his middle finger missing, which is funny because he tried to cut that other dude's middle finger off, and his sword just got stuck in his hand instead. Was that what you were trying to do? So I was trying to cut off your finger. I thought it would be cool.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
And then she's the one that
heals him.
Yeah, she's the one who figures it out.
Using the what they call.
Because she's debating with her little doll heads whether or not she should eat it.
That's such a cute scene.
Yeah.
Like she's having a conversation with these.
And there's the dude. He's like, why
are you turning away from me?
Yeah. And she starts making out with him.
So she gets
and then
the maggots.
she sees the maggots in the bin. And
yeah.
I thought, oh, okay, she's just going to raid the bin. But then she comes with that bowl of maggots. And I'm like, yeah, and they eat the
flesh, dead flesh, and he gets a mannequin finger and puts it on.
Yeah. And then she eats the maggots because it has
his blood in it. It's so smart. That is such a smart thing to think about. You know.
And not only is it a smart survival thing for her, because it sates that hunger, but it's also a super smart like treatment for how, you know, just, you know, because think about like how often these kids get hurt, injured, and stuff, you know.
I mean, how many kids?
Yeah, Turbo gets an arrow in his shoulder.
And again, she's the one that saves him because they take the maggots.
Yes, because he gets that big
gash,
in his face, and she takes the maggots and then eats the maggots. Yeah, I love Miss Crumble.
I do too.
From her first introduction, I was just like, I'm into this character. She's just crazy, you know. Eli has locked her into a section of the mall, and he calls her the witch. I just can't believe though that Josh wasn't sure if that was Sam or not. Like dark hair.
I know. How could you not? Yeah, Sam, because Sam's blonde.
He thought Angelica was Sam. Now, unless he thinks like every girl he sees could be Sam, until he sees their face. You know, I just didn't get that moment.
He pulls everyone into his obsession. You know, that whole I have to find Sam Dean. I have to find Sam Dean. Yeah. You know, and he has this vision of her.
Well, that's the thing. She even points out that everyone has this idea of her, but that's not who she is. She's many things to many people, but you know that is not who she is.
She doesn't even know who she is, and she admits that in her episode.
Yeah, episode 8 was. It was weird. It was like if I could not watch a series like episode 8.
No.
But episode 8
had such a deep impact.
Was just an amazing episode.
Yeah, it really was.
It was just this break from. It was a break from the plot, and was just this really intimate character episode.
Between Josh and her.
Mm.
Amazing. I mean, it's funny, it took me back to my younger days.
Yeah.
You know, growing up and having all these people talking at you and how you should be with your family, how you should be at work and how you should be, you know, what you should be doing and how you make people perceive you. Because most people want to be liked, right? So you put on personas.
Yeah.
Everybody does it.
They're just different masks for different situations.
Exactly.
But she's so good at it.
Mm-hmm, that she can befriend everybody and anybody and kind of mix with them and talk to them on a level nobody else can.
If you notice as well that she knows everyone. Like, not only does she know their name, but she knows something. You know, like, she knows that person's favourite band is this, and she knows that person loves the smell of bread in the morning. She knows everyone, but no one knows her.
Nobody knows her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that whole scene in the pool when they're making out and everything else, and she talks about how many people she slept with. And how women are thought of as whores and things like that. You know.
Yeah, she does that speech about slut and virgin. They're just easy to read labels for men. Yeah, and that is a very powerful scene. That's a very profound scene.
Yeah, because why should I, because I've slept with this many people, why should I be kind of tarnished? Why can't I just be myself and be that kind of sexual being that could possibly be?
It's weird as well. When I was watching that episode, I needed to check who wrote this episode. Weirdly, I needed to make sure a woman wrote this episode. I didn't want some dude putting these words in a girl's mouth, you know. And it was a woman wrote that episode, and just knowing that, it just made everything she spoke about in that episode, and especially that pool scene, just made it mean more. You know, I imagine there was a lot of catharsis in writing that scene. And it was just because for the first few minutes or couple of scenes, I was like, okay, so when are we jumping back to the apocalypse?
Yeah.
But as the episode moved through, I was like, I really hope they don't jump away now. And that scene as well where she's quote unquote seducing the delivery guy.
That's such a brilliant scene. Yeah. I mean, you can see the awkwardness.
Yeah, and the delivery guy
is like, oh, do you want me to join? Do you want me to join? And you can see it on his face. It's so funny.
The delivery guy, his face, his whole demeanour throughout that whole scene is that I've seen enough porn to know where this is going. Yeah. But she's literally just doing it to prove a point.
She is. I loved how she kind of commanded the room at that moment because of the conversation she and Josh had. You know, taking command of it, making sure that she has control in that situation and that she doesn't need.
Well, yeah, it's because like he was calling her worth into question based on how many people she slept with. So of course, you know, that whole thing of like going into his mother's room, putting on one of his mother's shirts, wearing his mother's makeup, you know, that was just power play. You know, that was just putting him in his place. It was reminding him he is just a little boy. You know, this was his first time or whatever. You know, he has no idea. He's naive. That was all it was. It's like, you know, here she is, opening his mind to new food and new movies and new experiences, and you know, now suddenly, you know, where he respected and looked up to that experience, suddenly he's looking, suddenly he's curling his lip at her for it. He's judging her.
That doesn't change who she is.
Exactly.
None of that changes who she is. You know, so no, fuck off.
Yeah.
That's what I have to say. But
that's a very typical.
I've experienced it. I admit, I've experienced it, and I would say most women go through that with one man or another. In fact, most women will probably lie to their partner because of that, and we shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
You know, my worth is not based on how many men I've slept with. My worth is based on me and who I am and what I can do.
Exactly.
You know?
And I remember when I was dating, you know, if a girl or a guy I was seeing, if they told me that they'd only ever slept with like maybe 2 or 3 people before me, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to guide them, aren't I? I'm gonna have to, you know. Whereas if the person I was seeing was like, you know, like, I don't know, few, I guess, I lost count, whatever, I'd just be like, cool, awesome.
People should have that kind of attitude.
I don't have to teach you anything. I don't have to guide you.
Yeah.
You know, maybe there's a couple of things that I might know that you don't. So, but beyond that, it's an even playing field. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that scene though, in the same episode where they're actually trying to have sex on the silk sheets.
Yeah, the satin sheets.
It's like most people's first time is that whole kind of romantic.
It's just an awkward fumble. You have these ideas like, I'm going to light candles, I'm going to do this.
I loved it. It's like, that's exactly how most people, you have your idea of how you want your first time to be, and it never is.
Can you recall, did he take his socks off?
Neither of them did. They both had their socks on. I made a comment. I said, he hasn't taken his socks off. Neither has she.
And that was also the thing. It's like the whole getting undressed bit. They didn't even like make out. Or
no,
anything.
they
didn't. It was all kind of like, all right, let's do the sex.
Which, in a funny sort of way, contradicts her. Because if she's that experienced in a way, she would have led him to make those moves, knowing that will help them both.
She might. Well, then again, she may be experienced, but she's still experienced on a teenage level. You know, she's not.
That's not true. You've got the app.
Yeah, I know she's got the app, and she has slept with quite a few guys, but she's probably slept with quite a few guys who have just as much experience as Josh, and are just as awkward and fumbly and things like that.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. And also, it's teenage boys. The most they know about the art of seduction, they've learnt through Pornhub, and that stuff. That's not.
That's not how you seduce somebody.
Yeah, it's not like, oh hey, here's my penis. Yeah. Oh, look at that, my penis. What could we,
In that episode, do you think she actually fell in love with Josh?
No.
No.
I think she was close to it, and then the whole thing with his dad happened, and the way he just flipped on her. Because he was angry at himself,
but
then he blamed her. Because all day he'd been avoiding calls from his mom.
To be with her.
And his mom kept saying, call your dad, call your dad, call your dad. And then he finds out his dad's dead. And he every time she was like, answer it, there's your mum. And he kept saying no. And then he blames Sam for it. He's like, the whole time I was just trying to get into your pants when I could have been,
talking to my dad, but...
This is the episode that really shows how much of a dick Josh can be.
Yes, indeed.
There were episodes earlier where he kicks everyone out of the ball. Well, he doesn't kick everyone out. He kicks Angelica and Wesley and.
But they kind of betrayed him in a way, didn't they? Because they didn't. They all told him that Sam was dead.
Yeah, they
so they could stay together.
Yeah, they found a dead body and told him it was Sam.
And then he found out the truth.
Yeah, I'm not.
And that was on top of another truth, though. There was something else that happened.
That was when he found out about Wesley and Turbo.
That's it.
And how Turbo basically told Wesley, either you kill them or I kill. You kill Josh or I kill everyone.
That's it.
And Wesley chooses the samurai way and finds a third option. Okay, I've been meaning to ask you this the whole time. Favorite narrator? Because each episode, so you got the Josh Ferris Bueller narration for 2 episodes, and then you have Angelica's Goodfellas narration.
My favourite...
what's next? You have Wesley's... No, that's later. There was another one. No, it is Wesley.
Is it Wesley?
No, it's Burr. Burr's American Beauty narration. And then you've got Wesley's RZA narration. They get RZA from Wu-Tang to do his narration.
Oh yes, I remember that.
And then
You've got
Miss Crumble's
Crumble.
one where it's all a sitcom production.
Yeah, that's my favourite.
That was weird.
That is weird and wonderful, and so it just spoke to me. I have to admit, that episode spoke to me, which is why it's my favourite.
It had a Charlie Kaufman adaptation, being John Malkovich vibe to it.
Yeah, definitely.
But it made me uncomfortable. There were a lot of scenes that made me very uncomfortable with her.
Between her and Burr?
Between her and Burr and the sitcom stuff, like the way they were just kind of exposing all these raw nerves made me very uncomfortable. I think
that was the point of the whole episode, because don't forget, she's going through this thing where she's a ghoul but a human, and she's trying to figure out
her mind is trying
to figure out which one is the alpha. And by the end of it, she's human and she admits it.
Yeah.
You know?
She's still a bit nuts.
Yes.
Well, no, now she's eccentric. She's not crazy anymore. She's just very eccentric.
But that whole bubble thing.
You suddenly realised you have trypophobia.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There's this scene with both of them where
they've got these growths on their backs.
Or pores or something, and even now, look, I'm kind of just makes my fingers, even thinking about it, makes my fingers go weird. I hated it. I had to look away. I couldn't look at it. It was
Yeah, it's weird that you suddenly discovered that you have trypophobia based on that. That whole trypophobia thing, I think it's called trypophobia. It's that whole revulsion of like small holes and things like that. I get it, because that stuff kind of turns my belly a bit, but it's not like, oh, I can't look at it.
No.
For me, it's more like that.
I had to close my eyes. I couldn't even thinking about it just makes my skin crawl.
But what does it mean?
Yes, what does it mean?
Every time she tells people that she can turn to mist and go through walls, everyone just calls her crazy.
Yeah.
Because there's that scene where she actually tries to do it and she just slams into the wall. And then the rocket goes off, the missile, and
you see her.
Yeah, she survives it.
Yeah. But how?
Yeah.
I turned into mist. Ooh.
Yeah. I'm just dying to know what she's turning into. And what I reckon for season 2, whatever she's turning into, there's going to be a bigger, scarier version of that.
Because you see something kind of trying to break out, or like another arm come out of... Yeah.
But as soon as he cuts the finger off, it dies.
His Burr's story is really interesting because he starts as a very idealistic kind of teacher, head teacher who just wants the kids to make their own way, but try and kind of guide them in the right direction. And he uses Sam to help him do that.
He's an unimpeachable good guy.
He really is. And then he has an incident.
And then that whole thing with the Hoyles family.
And he realised how much power he had.
I think what happened was that he took the bribe, and then suddenly he was under their thumb. And he learned to be just as...
ruthless.
Yeah, he learned to... He allowed himself to become ruthless. And he got lost in that, because suddenly he felt power. When he had Hoyles arrested... he suddenly felt that power.
I mean, you can see the change in his face. As soon as that arrest happened, if you actually watch him, you can see the change in his ego right there.
I think as well, because he's been doing it for 20-something years. Also, Burr's played by Matthew Broderick.
Yes.
We should have mentioned that in non-spoilers. But it feels like he always had the capacity to hate these kids, but never allowed himself to. And so he's carried around a lot of resentment for a lot of years, but sort of ignored it or tried to push it away and
trying
or whatever.
To do the thing for the greater good. I think that's how we saw it.
Yeah, and then the bribe and the arrest thing happens, and that opens a floodgate. And then the apocalypse happens after... Did he kill Crumble? Did she die in that moment? Then the virus, whatever, reawakened? We don't know, but after the apocalypse, it's like he was suddenly allowed to be this nice guy monster.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, he ate kids.
Yeah, and the way he spoke about the kids, he's still using his nice guy voice. there's so much hate in it.
Hate, yes.
When Josh
venom.
mentioned,
There's so much venom in what he says and how he says it to everyone.
when Josh mentioned Sam, he's essentially his right hand in the school. He's like, oh, she's the worst. She'll probably grow up to be a motivational speaker. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But he was a weird one to hate, because a part of him still genuinely cared. If you remember when Angelica gets her first period, he talks her through it. He's in his cage and they can hear each other through the vents, and he talks her through
how to put a tampon on.
Yeah, putting in her first tampon. So he was very hard to hate him. You knew he was a terrible guy. You knew he was a monster, but nuggets like that would suddenly kind of endear him.
But again, when you think of violent relationships and how they work, you've got the nice guy image with the venom inside. And you just need one trigger, one thing to set you off.
It's strange as well, because this show explores abusive relationships and abusive personalities quite a bit. Yeah, with Turbo again, and
look how Burr is with Miss Crumble, and that whole kind of threatening him and manipulating her and trying to,
But it's hard to kind of pick that apart or unpack that, because a lot of their relationship that we see pre-apocalypse is done in that sitcom.
Yeah.
So we're not sure. Obviously he's being awful to her in all the dialogue. But she still kind of, she still falls for him or whatever. And so, a lot of that was probably like how he treated her, not what he said to her. He was probably very nice to her verbally, but
But she was a means to an end for him. And when she found out, she was going to expose him. So he did what he thought was the best thing to do and pushed her down the stairs.
Yeah. He's that sort of sad, weak little man who suddenly has power. That's what they turn into. A resentful, powerless person suddenly has power.
And he's got his jail with all his, with all the kids.
It was kind of like a farm, wasn't it? It was like his own little
farm.
His own little battery farm, and they're all rigged to explosive devices, and so they could on wires that allows them to move through the factory and.
So you had
in very specific
ways,
in specific paths and things. Wow, this show has so much to talk about.
It really does. What do we think?
So you told me your favourite narrator was
Miss Crumble.
Miss Crumble.
What's yours?
I really liked the Wesley Rizza one, but I just enjoyed how inventive Josh's narrating was, like visually. It's, very much in that comic book style. I am so shattered right now.
So how about this?
Yeah.
Should we make a part 2 to this?
Maybe, but I do think we should.
Come back to
I do
it.
think we should wrap it up. There's so much to talk about in this.
All right, so let's do this. Right, so we get to the end of the whole thing, and
oh yeah, there's one thing I do want to bring up. I didn't like the fact that I liked the way it was explored, but I didn't like the fact that Wesley. Turbo's redemption doesn't feel earned yet.
Not yet.
He helped defeat the big bad, but he's got a long way to go. I really hope that when season 2 comes around, Wesley and Turbo aren't together anymore.
I agree with that completely.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We didn't even mention Mona Lisa.
I know.
Eli.
Oh my God. Eli is one of those characters you hate. I hated him. From the moment I saw him, I hated him. And then you see his story.
The thing is, with Eli, I hated him, but they kept sowing these sympathy seeds throughout the, he mentioned
I didn't know.
things.
For me, that was like get over your. For me, it was like get over yourself. People are in that situation. There are more worse.
Yeah, but he got bullied for it. He not only was he living that, but he got bullied for it as well.
I don't know.
But then his final episode.
That broke my heart.
Yeah.
We
suddenly realised that he's not a terrible person. He's just never had friends. Now that he and Josh are kind of connecting we see this better version of him.
And
then 2 minutes later, he's murdered.
By...
Hoyles.
Yeah, Hoyles.
Hoyles, who's just been wandering around the wasteland, and because he's dressed as Baron Triumph.
Yeah.
And so Hoyles just jumps him and stabs it.
Yeah.
And then this is one thing I didn't like, is he gets sexually assaulted by a
dog.
A big dog.
Yes.
If the dog had just eaten him, I'd be fine. But the fact that it starts,
Yeah,
that
kind of went there. That was
probably the
out of...
only moment I was like, no, I'm not on board.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just this... I was heartbroken.
I was
like, oh, fuck.
I wanted to know more.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I wanted to see where this character could go. Because what if he became like this just Samaritan? You know, he just casts off his greed and becomes like this good Samaritan and
anything, whatever. Yeah. I just wanted to see his story. I just wanted to see where he was going to go and how he himself grows as a human being. You know? There
is one thing I didn't understand. Eli kept talking about this girlfriend. Was it Mavis?
Yes.
Right? And then they all think he's lying about her, and then Josh meets her on the roof and she spray painted that big tree and yada yada yada.
Was that Mavis?
Yeah, and then later Eli says, no, Mavis is a mannequin. What happened there? Because Josh was no longer like recovering, he was fine. He no longer had a fever or anything like that. This was episodes after he recovered. He was just going through kind of like a crisis in belief or whatever, so where did that come from?
I have no idea.
When at the time I was like, oh, okay, so she is a real character. And then
I actually thought she was just one of the characters that came in with KJ's group. I just thought she was somebody from there. But what she says is poignant in terms of being connected.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the only reason she was there. That's the only reason that scene exists. But what was that about?
Well, hopefully we'll find out in the next...
Well, I don't think we will, because it's not like he's suddenly going to have like these hallucinations regularly or anything.
Do you think it was a hallucination though?
Well, it has to be, because Eli said she's not real, she's a mannequin. Right before he dies or whatever, he's like, no, she's just a mannequin. That's why he needs all the lotion.
Oh, poor Wesley. Because Wesley has to go and get the lotion when they go...
But that's all he had to do. He didn't have to apply the lotion.
No.
Yeah? He didn't have to give Eli a hand.
So much is explored as well in terms of sexuality, in terms of parental responsibility, and just how cliques work and can break.
Oh, actually, one narration I absolutely loved.
Go on.
Turbos.
Oh, yes.
Because he only speaks in grunts.
Yeah.
So all his narration is just grunts with text. And sometimes one grunt and it would just be this stream. There's actually a scene where he gives us full bloody speech.
You have to pause it to actually read it.
I didn't catch any of it.
Nope.
It's like it goes by in about 5 seconds, but it's just reams and reams of dialogue, and he's just like, ugh.
And Wesley understands him completely. But the beginning of that episode, when he's playing with the toys and the Lego,
he's created a Lego mall, and the Skeletor with Traitor on it, and that's just the episode.
What he did though was evil.
Oh yeah.
What he did was evil. That's just such a terrible thing to do.
This is what happens when you crave your father's attention, and the only father figure you have is this kind of pituitary case alpha male football coach. Got to make an example, etc. So he's kind of applying the philosophy of his father's kind of ideology with the practice of his coach's make an example for the sake of the children. It's just, and the kids sang wonderfully.
Yes.
One of the golf guys, like the second to last golf guy,
He was amazing. I mean, but he made that happen. Remember, because it was all Turbo's idea for him to be the snitch and for him to get caught.
He was. Was it 5138008 boobies?
Yeah.
That's the gamer idea.
Yeah.
But okay, how do the golf guys die? The first one dies. Ghoulies get him. We're outside Josh's apartment.
Yes.
Second one. How does he go? I know the third one gets blown up by Baron Triumph.
Yes.
Yeah, with the teddy bear. Fourth one is the
chopped
one.
up. He's just literally chopped up, and Baron eats parts of him.
Baron.
Not Baron.
No,
Bar.
the fourth one. The fourth one is the one that's sacrificed, and then the fifth one, he's not. Is he dead?
No, he gets eaten by.
Yeah, no, he has one arm, one leg missing.
Yeah. I don't think he's dead yet.
Burr's been putting him in smoothies.
I don't think he's dead yet, though.
So yeah. Well, how does the second one die? The second one's the tall one.
I feel like he got shot or his head cut off or something.
No, the Asian one, he got blown up by Baron Triumph.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember how the tall one. It couldn't have been that spectacular. No. Because every other death was like, oh!
Yeah, I think we might have to come back to this on another day. Rewatchability, would you rewatch it again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly just to see what I missed.
Because
it feels like the kind of show that like that Edgar Wright style of making something where things are set up and you don't even notice. I feel like it's kind of one of those shows.
Yeah.
So I do want to...
And there are so many references to so much pop culture. Lord. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Too many to list.
Maybe with the Patreon, what we can do is set a target on our Patreon. When we hit that target, we could do a rabbit watch live stream of episodes.
Nice. So, sounds like a plan.
Which means that everyone has to watch it. So yeah. I think we should call it a night. What's the time?
Midnight. All right.
No, there's no point recommending it because this was the spoiler talk and everyone who's...
Just watch it.
Yeah, just watch it again.
Just watch it again.
Yeah, watch it again. Tell us what you think of it. Yeah. Tell us your favourite bits. We will leave all the links down below for everything.
Indeed.
So, tell us your favourite bits or bits that maybe you have a different spin on. Like, we did a lot of, intuitive interpretation and things like that. So, if there's a thing that we described in a particular way, maybe you don't see it in the same way.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't agree. Let us know.
Let us know. We'll have a conversation. Maybe we'll open each other's minds.
Email us at the French-Patels@gmail.com and catch us. I'm on Twitter at FrenchyBalls.
And you can catch me at Amara_secrets.
Yep, and also we have a Twitter for this, just the French-Patels.
Indeed, you can find us on Twitter just find it there.
And sorry we missed last week.
We'll
be back next week with...
what are we watching next? What's our next one?
Well, we've done a TV show, and next week was supposed to be another TV show, so maybe we'll push that to another...
maybe next year.
After, in February. We've got a slot open in February. So
I have an idea. We could watch a gangster movie since the new... is it Scorsese's movie's out this weekend?
Isn't it a Netflix movie?
I don't know.
If it's a Netflix movie, let's watch that.
Okay. There we go.
I'm pretty sure it's a Netflix movie.
I really want to watch it as well.
Yeah.
The Irish Mob.
It's just The Irishman.
Oh, okay. I thought it was The Irish
Especially
Mob.
after King of Comedy.
That'd be quite good, actually, to see that.
So, we'll do the Irishman.
Yeah.
If it's a Netflix.
Yes.
If not, we'll do something else.
We'll pluck something out.
Yeah. So until next time, it's goodbye from her.
And it's goodbye from him.